Okay. Hi, everyone. Been a long time. Sorry. Life has been extremely busy. My girlfriend and I have been going through a move, helping out our parents, and
Don't block your...
okay, we've been going through a move and yada yada yada, and it's just been absolute chaos. But things have finally started to calm down a bit. I'm back to actually watching movies again. Yay! And in the past couple of weeks, I've actually been able to squeeze in some viewings of certain films, stuff that I was able to watch at least over the past couple of weeks. Two of which are horror films, which fit in with the theme of October, and one that, while it wasn't exactly a horror film, it was directed by a horror director, and they did kind of interject a little bit of those elements in there. I'm not going to cover them all movies in one single video. I'm going to cover one of them, and then there's going to be two others that are going to follow, so you'll see those ones later. But the first one I wanted to talk about was a film called In Fabric by director Peter Strickland, who's done such films such as Barbarian Sound Studio and The Duke of Burgundy. This is actually his second horror film and his fourth film overall. And he has, from what I understand, a very distinct sensibility where it's like he kind of likes to direct films that feel like they're from the past. I haven't seen any of his films to really have an opinion on them outside of the fact that I've heard nothing but good things about his other films. And if there's any indication of what In Fabric is like of his other movies, consider me very interested, because from top to bottom, I thought In Fabric was a complete blast. To give an idea of what the film is about, it's about this woman. I forget the name of the actress. I think her name is like Marianne Jean Baptiste or something. I need to look up what her name is. But she goes into a department store and finds this beautiful red dress that one of the department store clerks gives, like this extravagant, the clothing you are about to wear will be heard through the spheres of retail. And she buys the dress and it looks really nice on her. But as the film slowly starts to go on, it begins to do weird things. Like, she discovers bizarre bruises that happen out of nowhere, and when she tries to clean the dress, it literally destroys her washing machine. And as the film begins to progress, the dress itself is actually haunted. And it's apparently a killer dress, too. Literally. And I know that premise sounds absurd, but the film thankfully has enough self-awareness to acknowledge its absurdity, because there are parts in the movie where it's legitimately a comedy, from the strange editing tricks it does and the visual style to the way characters speak. Like, there's a bizarre dichotomy that happens between, the normal characters and the people who are in charge of the retail store that sold the dress. Like, the film's actual characters, they speak like normal people. They have regular conversations. And then when you cut to the people who are in charge of the department store, they speak in this bizarre, oblique, kind of like... These characters speak like they're from some kind of strange novel that came from a completely different country. And it's like when the other characters actually speak with those ones, the movie almost kind of doesn't acknowledge that. Like, they just act like they're speaking normally, even though they're not. And then when the film, I would say, kind of has this theme of how essentially consumerism will kill us all. Because as the film begins to progress, we start to learn that the dress has claimed other victims in the past. And when the film switches gears in its second half, we're no longer following the main character of the first half. It actually switches to a couple that gets the same dress. Admittedly, it does go down a bit in quality. Like, the first half, the lead character of that first half is a much more compelling and more charming lead than the couple that's in the second. But the film still manages to maintain that quirky, weird, goofy vibe that's also really idiosyncratic and strange and highly watchable. And then when the film gets to the last 15 minutes, it loses its mind in such a glorious manner. Like, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is what's happening at the ending now. I like this. Overall, there's still more to see, of course, but if things play out the way I think they might for some of the other films I'm going to see, There's a strong chance that this is going to stay in my top 10 of the year so far, because I was having such a fun time watching it. The 2 hours felt like a breeze to me. It's definitely a film not for all tastes. I've seen some people who utterly really dislike it, or even people who thought the first half is great, but the moment it gets to the second half, the whole thing crumbles apart. But for my taste, I was fully into it. I was having a great time with it. And for those of you who want kind of a more strange, off-kilter horror movie, something that kind of makes you think, I've never seen something like that before, this is definitely it. Admittedly, I watched the film through interesting means, I'll put it like that. But as for what the American release date is going to be, it's scheduled to come out sometime at the beginning of December, I think on the 4th. So if you can find a theater that's playing it, definitely check it out. I had a great time watching it, and if you're in the mood for something that you feel like you haven't seen before in the genre, I highly recommend it. Also, oh yeah, this is also a movie that might make you look at mannequins a different way from now on. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, that's it from the first review. The other two are soon to follow. Have a good day, everyone.